called the Shield of the Americas, and it's going to be headed up by former DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. The first summit is this weekend in Florida. But what is it exactly? We break it all down when Political Connections is back after the break here on Spectrum News. President Donald Trump and members of his administration will travel to South Florida this weekend for a summit with Latin American leaders to discuss immigration and drug trafficking. However, the leaders of some of the most populous countries in the hemisphere, including Mexico and Brazil, will not be attending, raising some questions about just how effective this gathering can be. And ousted Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem will also attend in her new role as the president's incoming special envoy for the Shield of the Americas. Our Karina Capabianca has more now from Washington.
White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says leaders from several nations in the Western Hemisphere, including Argentina, Ecuador, and El Salvador, will gather in South Florida for a summit on tackling immigration and drug trafficking.
The president will be speaking with the leaders of this country who have really formed a historic coalition to work together to address criminal narco-terrorist gangs and cartels and counter illegal and mass migration into not only the United States, but the Western Hemisphere, which remains a key and top priority of this president.
The gathering follows President Donald Trump's ouster of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro in January, his ongoing attack on Iran, and reports that he is setting his sights on Cuba next. The conservative leaders of several Latin American countries will attend, as will outgoing Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, whom the president fired on Thursday and named his special envoy for the Shield of the Americas Western Hemisphere, a new position.
We have all kinds of new challenges, and that's why President Trump is undertaking going after the cartels by addressing it from the Western Hemisphere. He will have a big agreement that I'll be there with him on Saturday with the Department of War and the Department of State on how we're going to go after cartels and drug trafficking in the entire Western Hemisphere.
But one expert notes the lack of participation from countries like Mexico and Brazil could signal the summit is more symbolic than anything.
The largest countries in terms of population and the economy, Mexico, Brazil, Colombia, for example, they will not be participating. So we cannot really talk about regional solutions if we don't have such important countries participating.
The Department of State says Secretary Marco Rubio will also be joining President Trump at the summit Saturday. In Washington, Karina Capabianca, Spectrum News.